Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Cotter.
I've never seen a moment.
I don't know
of
what
Welcome
that
Back,
is.
Cotter. It's a show from the 70s.
It's about people that live in Qatar.
No, it's
that
about,
are back.
It's about a school, I think. Or
what?
I think it's about a school.
Okay.
I think John Travolta's in it. Young John Travolta.
Television?
Yeah. I believe that's where he plays the character of Vinnie Barbarino. Famous Italian.
Yeah, I feel like that time period for television shows were all just like, look how cool Italian men are.
They all needed one cool Italian guy.
Each show.
Fonzie. Vinnie Barbarino.
That's all the shows.
That's about it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
I've earned everything I've got. Yeah, good.
Mr. Gorbachev.
You didn't build that.
Mr. Gorbachev.
Yeah, good.
Tear down this wall.
Your favorite president?
Tear down this wall.
I can see Russia from my house. Pokemon go to the polls.
Ask not. Yeah, good.
What your country?
He did say well alive.
So, we're back. A dinosaur story.
No, Luch. We're back. A newlywed story. I've had that in the pocket for weeks for this episode.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Put it back in that linty old pocket.
Put it back there with my my Vaughn's Monopoly cards that have never been redeemed. And gum.
Never will be redeemed.
Never will be.
We are back after a hiatus.
Right. A new season. This is season 2.
We should make it a
We
new
should,
season.
then it's like
yes.
we didn't mess up and just not do it for months.
Well, after
The cliffhanger of last
the
season.
cliffhanger of last season was that we were actually in a relationship for 10 and a half years.
That's right. That was the big reveal.
Yeah, turns out that these hosts actually fell in love while recording. They dated 10 and a half years, then they started a podcast.
But
and
we were
fell
just
in
cool
love.
with it until the podcast, and then we fell in love.
Yeah, and so then we decided that, podcasting is great, but what's also great?
What?
The holy matrimony of marriage.
Oh, I love those holy bonds.
Yeah.
So we got married. We went off to Las Vegas, Nevada, and got ourselves hitched up.
Yeah, and little did we know we should write this off on next year's taxes. We would be eloping and also doing research for our big hit podcast.
Our big hit podcast that stopped posting and didn't tell anybody, really.
So we...
What did we do?
We went to Las Vegas.
That's right.
Which isn't that far from Los Angeles. But when there's been a pandemic where you can't go anywhere, this was a huge deal.
Felt like the damn moon.
We're both vaccinated, as we've heavily discussed on the show.
Right.
And we decided, hey, this is Biden's America.
Right. It's post-Rona.
Post-Rona-ish. And so we got in our old Corolla and we hightailed it to the city of dreams and lights.
Sin City.
Sin City.
Yeah.
The comic book place.
Right. Yep.
And we got married at Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel.
Yeah, that's right. Not by Elvis, but in an Elvis-themed room where we got ready. So
It was our green room, was literally like an old-timey vintagey green room.
it was great.
With Elvis ephemera. And we also got married on Elvis and Priscilla's anniversary,
That's
turns
right.
out, which was May 1st.
May 1st.
Maybe.
Wilbur.
So it was May 1st, also known as May Day, the Workers' Day.
Right.
And May Day, the Celtic pagan holiday of Beltane.
Right.
Which is a big day for lovers and flowers. And so we thought, let's have a let's do it.
Let's be lovers and flowers.
Yeah, so you can scope our adorable wedding pictures on
Yeah.
the gram. And yeah, it was really fun. Afterward, we stayed at, well, first we were going to stay at a motel that was next to the chapel.
Yeah, and look, Luke and I are not travel snobs. We've stayed in motels before. We've
All the
driven across
time.
country and stayed in motels. We're not Rockefellers.
No.
We're not Vanderbilts.
We're not Venmos.
We're not Venmos. We're not the heir to the PayPal fortune. But we pull up to this motel, and
It's just,
we're just immediately like, we gotta go somewhere else.
we gotta go.
Gotta get out of here.
Like, and we had all of our wedding accoutrements in the
Yeah.
car that we'd have to unload. And, like, people were just kind of, like...
Just a bunch of weirdos.
Everyone was just kind of hanging out, like, laying in front of the hotel. Like, it was just a gathering of juggalos.
If only.
If only.
It would have helped.
So it was just like... So we spent the night earlier than our planned at the Venetian, which was our, like, first honeymoon destination.
Yeah.
Which felt appropriate because... I am Italian and Kyle is
That's right.
white trash.
Yep.
So it was a perfect.
Yeah, it's a real Elvis Sinatra coming together. And then I'm going to wait to talk about the other thing we did in Vegas in order
That
to
sounds
segue
very
into our
sexual.
topic.
Okay. So we stayed at the Venetian, and did like a gondola ride. We ate a lot of Italian meals.
Right.
We realized how old we were because, like, after basically the first night, we had acid reflux,
We
our
were
stomachs hurt. We were just like, we can't do this.
Yeah, we were rocking like 60% capacity for most of the time we were in Vegas.
Yeah, but it was a really wonderful time. We still wore masks around.
Yeah.
But it was fun. We could actually, like, eat at restaurants and for the first time in ages. And
We had a cake from the cake boss.
yeah, so the day of the elopement, they had like a buddy's Carlo's bakery, like the guy from Cake Boss, in the Venetian. So while Kyle was finishing up this semester of grad school hours before the wedding, I was
Say that like I'm irresponsible.
no, I was saying like how impressive that
thank
is.
you.
I was like, I'm gonna go to Buddy's Bakeria, and so I had ordered us one slice of like this rainbow strawberry cream cheese cake, and they gave us a whole cake as a surprise because they knew we were eloping that day. So shout out to the Cake Boss, and really shout out to the nice employees
At the Venetian
Cake Boss franchise.
Carlos. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like Buddy hears this and then he fires them, like, just giving away cakes. Hey. So that was a really sweet surprise, and we were able to, like, have cake and champagne in the room, and
Yeah.
we had our family able to see a live stream of us eloping, and it was really like doing sort of a comedy gig. Like, they put you in a little green room that, like, is just very like a little sketchy, and then they just kind of, the stage manager is just like, okay, come on, stand like this, all right, go. And it was like a 6-minute long ceremony.
It was great.
Yeah, our priest, no, our
Efficient.
our officiant was sort of like queer Borat. Like, his
Yeah.
voice was very like, and do you two take each other. So it just, like, felt very perfect.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was the best. You can see all the pictures that we've posted so far
Yeah.
on Instagram. So after Vegas, while we're just talking about our experiences,
Yeah.
after Vegas we went to Joshua Tree.
Yeah, for the first
For
time.
the first time, we stayed at an Airbnb, a lovely Airbnb.
It was also our first time. It was our first time being to Vegas together. First time getting married.
True.
First time going to Joshua Tree and staying on Airbnb. So that was it felt really special.
Yeah, it was really a really special time. Joshua Tree is beautiful. Brilliant night sky for night sky viewing. Yeah, it was great. I don't know. I was gonna segue then, but then I remembered that I was
Yeah,
playing
we
a
kind
different
of
segue.
almost got tattoos.
Yeah, we strongly considered getting tattoos, and then we decisively
ran
didn't.
away. We got to visit a local tattoo shop. I've been talking to the guy. I thought that since then, I've now binged Ink Master, which I strongly recommend.
A lot
But
of fun.
so at the time, I thought that we'd kind of get a choice of multiple tattoo artists. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, "Come on in, take a look at my stuff." And I said that we were interested in maybe like a Joshua tree, or maybe like a flying saucer, or maybe who
Yeah.
knows. So we came in, and he showed us his drawings, and they looked like
They were
he
shaky
had a
little line
tremor.
drawings. Yeah.
Shaky little line drawings that.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Burt Gummer, get out of here with the tremors.
Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was very much like, I don't want a tattoo drawn by a 5th grader carved into his desk.
By Ralph Wiggum.
Yeah, so we were just like, wow, thanks.
We're gonna think about it, man.
Yeah, and so then he was like, yeah, just text me. And so we went back to our Airbnb, which was up by the mountains,
Yeah.
which terrified us. It was
The
beautiful.
first night was rough because we got there super late.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not even super late, just after nightfall,
Yeah,
and
we couldn't see what was in front of
pitch-ass
us.
black.
And we
Yeah.
were literally, our Airbnb was at an entrance to the park. Like,
Yeah.
so there could be coyotes, there could be
And indeed, we saw lots of hares. We
a
saw
rattlesnake outside of our
We saw
door.
a rattlesnake. We saw a lot of
It was
quails.
just watching us. It was like guarding our Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of little quails that make a really cute like.
They were awesome.
Yeah,
It was a great time.
it was a great time. And it was nice to go to to Joshua Tree because it was so different than Vegas. And we had kind of been trapped in the Venetian too long. We thought there was more to do there.
Yeah.
And there kind of wasn't. We tried gambling. We were really bad at it.
Yeah, I actually still have our $12 voucher.
I knew you didn't redeem it. Ah, Kyle.
Don't worry, I have no idea where it is, so it's fine. It's
$12.
like I redeemed
That
it.
could have bought us
Half a drink.
half a drink. Oh my god.
Yeah, and Joshua Tree's beautiful. Strongly recommend. I grew up pretty close to the low desert, California's low desert, just further south, and I never really spent a ton of time in the high desert, and it's just
The high desert.
I didn't really make it.
We didn't really get high. Our stomachs were like, I mean, after a year of quarantine
Yeah.
food, after a year of like HelloFresh
And suddenly we're having like
canned
decadent
food.
Italian meals and big cookouts.
yeah, we went to Delmonico's, which is
the Emerald. Yeah.
Emerald Bam.
Bam.
So we got bammed up real hard.
Oh, I got too bammed.
We went to like a weird sushi fusion restaurant.
It was
That
a Brazilian-Japanese fusion restaurant.
It was kind of bullshit. But like had some like Wagyu steak
Yeah, the Wagyu gyoza. was
gyoza.
pretty
That was good.
great.
And it was funny because there was like these old people that were like very annoying sitting next to us, and the woman was like ordering like $50 steak and for her dog to bring back to the room.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we don't really like, it's got stuff on it. And she's like, can you just wash it off? So that was really interesting. And we felt a little like fishes out of water. And then it was also like one of those restaurants that was acting like kind of like a nightclub too.
Yeah, it
So-
had like dramatic lighting and
Yeah, and every time we got food, we were very excited and like fist pumped the air.
yeah.
So when we were leaving, this sweet guy like flagged us and he was like, you guys won the award for like the cutest
reaction to the food. or
reaction to
something.
the food.
And
Like,
he did like a little fist pump.
yeah, so that was very sweet. We were the darlings of
Yeah.
Vegas. Everyone was so nice in Vegas.
Everyone was so nice.
They were just so happy that we got married, and we kept getting so full from
Yeah.
these dinners, and then they kept giving us free dessert for being married,
Yeah.
which was so sweet. But we were like, we
It was
can't.
what I said was like, give us booze. Booze is more expensive, and I'm not full. of
I
it.
also couldn't have finished the
Yeah, that's
booze,
true.
but
But you were having more reflux than me.
yeah, Kyle. The day after our elopement, Kyle at like 8 a.m. Had to
Oh,
like
yeah.
go to Walgreens and get me
Yeah.
Tums or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't really happen to me. It was because we were having like tropical drinks and
Yeah.
champagne
It's
and
we were
citrus, and it was stressful.
no holds barred. Yeah, and it was a lot of activity.
Yeah. So it was really nice to have a break in Joshua Tree. And I really wanted to see a big tortoise, but I didn't.
You didn't.
But that's okay,
Yeah.
because I saw other things.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So there's something else that we did while we were in Vegas, in Nevada. I had to say.
The best little whorehouse.
We went to the best little whorehouse in Nevada.
Which is also a gas station.
I mean, there are legal whorehouses in Nevada.
I know.
I always forget that. I did that week. No, we decided to go check out Area 51 out in the Nevada desert.
Now, Kyle, we've already been to Roswell, New Mexico.
That's true.
What's the difference?
Well, Roswell, New Mexico is the site of an alleged UFO crash in the 1950s, 1940s. This isn't part of my research. Roswell doesn't matter for it, so I don't remember offhand when the year is. I think it's 1950s. And Roswell itself is a lovely, although very smelling of cows, farm town up in the hills of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall, there were places like a McDonald's and buildings
Yes.
and places to go.
A lot of things you could buy that had aliens wearing sombreros, which was
Hilarious.
problematic. Okay.
Also problematic. Area 51 is a top secret Air Force base that was only recently confirmed to exist, also called Groom Lake or Homey Airport. And
homie.
that's a good march that you did, and not a good one that I did. And it's located just outside the town of Rachel, Nevada. Rachel, Nevada is the closest human settlement of any kind to Area 51. Now,
Not to be confused with Ross, Nevada.
or Chandler, Arizona.
Exactly.
Or Joey Tribbiani. So, Area 51, what we know for a fact that they do there is Air Force shit, right? Secret Air Force stuff. They test planes, they test all kinds of
That's
things.
what they act like. It's all we do.
Yeah, well, we know that's exactly. But this has also been rumored since the 80s to be the site of alien shit.
I thought that's where they say they brought the aliens from the Roswell crash to Area 51.
I think that they've added that since, but Roswell wasn't, or Area 51 wasn't really a thing that they talked about until the late 80s, early 90s. So, like, that may be what it is now, and even back then when they said what Area 51 was, they probably talked about it, but it wasn't until Bob Lazar came forward to say that he worked at Area 51, that Area 51 became part of the consciousness of this.
Okay.
And again, his story may have been that's where they took the Roswell aliens, but for many decades that wasn't a part of the Roswell story because nobody knew Area 51 existed. So it's a really weird place. Famously, you can't really get close to it. If you try to approach it, you can get arrested.
They legally
you
can
get
shoot
shot.
you to death.
Yeah, you're trespassing on Defense Department territory, basically.
Yeah, and Nevada, a lot of the land is owned by the government, right? Or most of them?
Most of Nevada is owned by the federal
And
government.
so it's like that's also where, not Area 51, but Nevada in general, like where they were doing nuclear testing.
Yeah.
They had like a boom town of just like putting the fake dummies and blowing them up and seeing like what happens. And so, a lot of kind of sinister government, experiments happening in that area. So, but it's driving distance from Vegas. It was just a fun day trip, and we returned back to our hotel
we stopped
in
in at
Vegas.
the little Alien, which is seems like the only structure in Rachel, Nevada.
Yeah, it was appropriate because we both like wanted to go there basically since we were kids, and we're Googling it on our little computers and in the old days, so it felt appropriate for us to go.
Yeah.
But it was there were some sinister vibes once we got toward
Yeah.
the extraterrestrial highway, they call it.
Yeah, the vibes were bad. The vibes were definitely bad. Especially when you are about to enter Rachel, Nevada, and you kind of drive around this big, wide, flat Joshua Tree forest, basically, that then becomes mountains.
And the Joshua Tree forest, it almost is like thorn bush. Like it
Yeah.
feels like it's like
It's very
you
foreboding.
can't go through
Yeah.
here.
And there's one road that like branches off towards the mountains that you're not supposed to go down. And on the other side of those mountains is Area 51. And probably within the mountain as well.
And under the ground.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you go on the extraterrestrial highway, there's like, a couple of spots.
Yeah.
When there was the whole Storm Area 51 thing, which started as just a Facebook joke of like making an event, let's storm Area 51.
They can't stop
all of us. And then it became an actual, almost like festival, like alien themed festival, and people actually did show up, which was crazy because like it kind of was like they couldn't stop all of them, like because it was like an event where I think they got the proper permits. It was publicized. Apparently like a lot of the security near Area 51, even they took it as like, well, this is kind of fun. Even we get to be a little close to Area 51, and like, people didn't get hurt, but like tangentially to that, someone tried to actually go on their own, and I think got killed like at some time around then.
Yeah, well, there was a guy. He wasn't part of that, but there was a guy that basically tried to drive on. Mm-hmm. And I think he was armed, and he was like, we're coming in, and he got shot. And then two European YouTubers that were part of the Storm Area 51 also tried to enter the premises, and they were arrested.
So it's
no joke.
Yeah. And this is no comedy podcast. No. But so there's really just like the little alien, which is very close to Area 51.
It's right on the other side of the mountain.
And then right before it, before you get to that area, is this airplane hangar.
Yeah.
That's like off the side of the road. That is where they hosted a lot of the Storm Area 51 festivities.
It's like a little museum.
It's a little museum, and they act like it's like the Serious Research Center.
Yeah.
We tried to get in, but it was closed, and which was weird because it said online it was open.
Yeah.
And because there's no windows to that aircraft carrier, it just kind of felt like we don't want to.
It felt weirdly abandoned.
Yeah, and then
but there was a trail,
we weren't close to anyone, and when you enter these areas, you lose all reception.
Yeah, there's no cell phone. And
which is unsettling, and that we made sure we got some water, like a pallet of water before we left, and then the only other thing next to the aircraft carrier was a trailer.
Yeah, like an RV.
That I think was where the person who runs it lives.
Yeah.
And so I was like, should we knock on the door and be like, hey, is anyone here? Whatever. And Kyle was just getting very bad vibes and was like, let's not bug that person.
Yeah, two
just
quick
go.
things on that. One is the cell service dying when you're driving through the canyons out in the desert. Completely understand.
Usual, yeah.
Totally normal. Rachel, Nevada has cell service. The road around the mountain around Area 51 to Rachel, Nevada does not. Even though it's at the same elevation, same openness. The Defense Department has to kill the signal on that freeway. Like, I don't think that's a natural cell signal losing.
Yeah.
I think that starts of the freeway basically you're not allowed to have communications in or out.
Yeah.
Secondly, such a weird thing about this museum is there was this SUV behind us.
Yeah, black kind of family-looking SUV.
Yeah.
They were sort of behind us on the extraterrestrial highway, and they stopped to take a picture of the extraterrestrial highway sign.
So
it was
tourists,
it was
they seem
okay,
nice
they're doing
people.
the same thing that we're doing.
Exactly. So they pulled into this museum, or we pulled into this museum, and we're looking around. We walk the perimeter, there's nobody here. The vibes are weird. It's all wind bitten and stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get out of here.
And it's a shame because there's only two things on the extraterrestrial
Yeah. But so let's get out
highway.
of here. And so we start to leave the little plateau where the museum is, and this SUV passes us going in to check it out. And I think Luch at first, you were like,
should we
"Should
tell
let them know
that
it
it's
seems
closed?"
closed?
Yeah.
And I was like, they'll figure it out. They probably have fun getting out and walking around and checking it
Yeah.
out. I got weird vibes, but I didn't get danger vibes.
Yeah.
So we leave, and I don't notice until we're driving back after all this. I'm like, I think to myself, we never saw that SUV again.
There's only one road.
There's one road.
And they were behind us.
And they were behind us.
before.
We got lunch at the little alien.
That's like the next and only other stop.
Yeah, it's like they never showed up.
It's like you can keep going past that, and there's like there's a little bit more like sort of, I think, stuff having to do with maybe the nuclear program or something.
But if you're pulling off to take a picture of the ET highway sign, you're going to stop at the little alien. You know what I mean? Like, that's the main thing
It's
there.
just, yeah, exactly.
And so I was thinking, that's weird that we never saw them again. And I think to myself, gosh, how creepy would it be if their car is just still parked at this closed museum?
Like over an hour later.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 2 or 3 hours later. Because there's about another hour driving to get to the little alien from there.
Oh.
And it was indeed still parked there when we passed.
It was still parked there and no one was in the car.
Yeah, it was very strange. I mean, hopefully they just were able to get in and check it out.
We're there for a long time.
And weren't abducted by the Wendigo or something.
Maybe they knew the guy that runs it.
Maybe they run it.
Maybe they run it, and for some reason they also had to take tourist photos.
Maybe one of their friends from out of town was like, hey, you got to get a picture of that for me.
Yeah, but probably not.
Probably they're in a spaceship right now.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our topic today.
In a spaceship right now. So we went to the little alien.
Right.
I was a little disappointed, and I think my blood sugar was low.
Was a little low.
A little low. Because it was just like a shitty dive bar, which I knew from looking at the photos online since I was a kid. But still, like, there were barely any things to buy, which is the whole point of aliens. You buy things with their faces on them.
Right.
So we did get, like, a little thing of alien tequila.
Right.
Got this stuffed animal that became our child of our marital love, a little green alien, and we named him Grumo. Mm-hmm. It has multiple meanings. 1, Kyle is a groom.
Sure.
He got married. 2, Groom Lake is where Area 51 is. 3, Grumo Appola is one of the towns in Italy where I have ancestors from. So he became Grumo, and we rescued him from Area 51.
We busted him out.
I'm holding him right now as we record.
That's right.
I'm cradling his giant head.
We busted him out.
And we ordered a little alien burger, which was just
just a solid, like, barbecue, like a camp out burger.
Yeah.
Like,
we split it.
Yeah.
We split one and got like a soda and a beer. And I just was like, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, the people were like, that all were working there, they were very nice, but they were like, yeah, and then I went into his trailer, and then he pulled a shotgun on me, and I was like, I don't want to see that. Put that away, it's me. Like, and talking about, like, I ate some bison, it was good. And I was just like, I want to leave. But I got in a better mood after I ate the burger. Yeah. And there was a cute little dog named George that lived there.
George was good.
One of the closest living creatures to Area 51.
Maybe he's an alien.
It could be like Men in Black.
X-Men in Black?
X-Men in Black, yeah. He could be one of those. He could be the pug from Men in Black. He was super sweet. So we decided, but we felt a lot of sort of dark energy around the base. Mm-hmm. Which we weren't expecting. And, like, the weight of the secrecy, the weight of, the atomic program, the weight of, like, that we're not allowed here and what is going on.
Whatever happens there is bad stuff.
Yeah. That the government is covering up.
That's right. Which brings us to our topic today. It's been all over the news. Everyone's talking about it. It's the hottest thing since GameStop stock. That's right, folks. We're talking about UAPs.
You wet ass pussies.
You wet ass.
You wet ass pussies.
Unidentified aerial phenomena, the official Defense Department term for UFOs. So, everyone's talking UFOs these days. And we're going to talk about why they're talking about UFOs these days.
You talking UFOs to me?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to be. We're going to go through a brief history of UFO sightings and the government's relationship to them.
So you're saying this is U.S. history? This is
Right.
political
Right.
U.S. history, like
Right.
happening right now, like Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
They're making history. Yeah, but I'm also going back to the 40s, so we're going
Yeah.
to go into real U.S. history as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is real U.S. history. So, you and I are both interested in this topic, and we've both read a lot into it, or read a lot about it. Now, I want to make clear that I am sticking to the facts here
Okay.
on this one today. There's a lot of fun and more
Speculative?
speculative. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. A lot of more speculative information out there. A lot of less confirmed information out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, we could even do a part 2 episode where we get into that stuff.
So you're going to be talking about what the government says is true?
I'm going to be talking about what is definitely documented as true.
Okay.
Whatever the government actually doesn't like a lot of this, doesn't say a lot about it,
Great.
but it is confirmed to be true. I'm not going to get into, like, the speculation about Dwight Eisenhower meeting with aliens.
But that's awesome!
That's what I mean about how we could maybe do, like, a part 2
Okay.
where we get into that. Because I want to actually get to the root of this story that's happening right
Okay.
now and why it's happening.
Maybe we'll do a mini-sode.
A mini-sode of all the cool stuff.
Okay.
But this is cool, too.
It's so cool. Let's get into it.
So this is largely drawing from 2 articles that I want to attribute my sources to.
Farticles.
Why is this happening? You're just mad because I don't want to talk about Eisenhower meeting aliens for this one.
2 farticles. Yes.
2 farticles, both published within the last month. The first is called How Harry Reid, a Terrorist Investigator and the Singer from Blink-182 Took UFOs Mainstream.
That's a great fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, and that's by, it's from Politico.
Wait, fuck, marry, kill. Harry Reid,
A Terrorist Investigator.
a terrorist investigator,
And the Singer from Blink-182.
and the singer from Blink-182.
Okay, well, I fucked Tom DeLonge from Blink-182.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's a rock star. I marry Harry Reid because he's probably not long for this world, and I imagine he's
Loaded.
preloaded, so I'll get that from him. And I'll kill that other guy because who cares?
Okay.
What about you?
Well,
I'll give you a hint. Probably don't say the words "kill Harry Reid" on a podcast.
you just said the words. Okay. I think I'll just go with your answer too. Let's move on.
I made an intentional decision to say "kill" to the guy whose name we didn't say. Okay. The other article is from the New Yorker, and it's called It's called "How the Pentagon Started Taking UFOs Seriously."
Penny's snoring.
She's so bored with this.
Can you hear it on
Yeah.
the podcast?
I don't know if I can hear it on the podcast, but I can hear it in real life.
She's streaming.
She's almost too big for the little pad.
I think she is streaming because her face is like scrunching.
She's streaming over alien overlords.
Benny. Okay. Yeah. So cats were aliens
Right.
that were brought to ancient Egypt to
Yeah.
infiltrate, and then they became worshipped as cat gods.
Yeah, and they're on our side though.
Yes.
Against the reptilians.
Because cats kill lizards.
Exactly.
Penny killed a lizard.
And that's in these articles. That's New Yorker fact checked.
That's a New Yorker cartoon. Ooh.
So, UFOs, obviously, in the sense of mysterious items in the sky, have been reported forever.
Mm-hmm.
People have always been seeing stuff in the sky. I mean, you could argue that the Book of Ezekiel has UFOs in it. You could. There's stories in the newspaper in the 1800s about mysterious airships in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
But the modern era of UFOs really begins June 24th, 1947, when private pilot Kenneth Arnold is flying around Mount Rainier in Washington, and he sees 9 boomerang-shaped objects in the sky.
Shit.
He reports these as very strange and as moving like a saucer skipped across the water, which a newspaper headline basically translates into flying saucers. This ignites a craze. People are freaked out by this. Remember, this is 2 years since the end of World War II. The Cold War is just getting started.
Yeah.
And a lot of people obviously are primarily concerned that this is communists, right?
Yeah.
Especially because if you go to Seattle, you probably have to go a little bit further north, but then go due west across the Pacific, you hit Russia.
That's what Sarah Palin said.
That's right. And that's why she won the presidency.
Yeah.
So within a year, there's like 800 reports of UFOs that are put forward. It's an absolute craze. It's September of 1947.
Everybody's doing the UFO, yeah.
Cleek, Glor, take me to your leader. In September of 1947, Air Force Lieutenant General Nathan F. Twining writes a memo to the rest of the Air Force.
Oh, it's pronounced Mimo.
Right, sorry. He writes a grumo to the rest of the Air Force, saying, quote, "The phenomenon reported is something real and not visionary or fictitious." And he's concerned that it's Soviets, but he also doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
And so he urges the Air Force successfully to launch Project Sign in 1947.
SIGN?
Yeah.
Signs?
Signed.
Cool. Cosine? Sorry about the tangent.
Oh, fuck you. Oh my god. Ugh, you don't even like math.
I hate math. Love words, though.
That's true. Hate math as much as I love words. So, Project Sign is a project dedicated to investigating these reports. So basically, while Project Sign is happening, if you see yourself an UFO, you go, I gotta call up Project Sign and let them know.
So you're like, operator, connect me to Project Sign.
Yeah, Air Force, please. Yeah.
1 moment. Let me connect you.
That's right. That's exactly what it's like.
The past.
So, fully 20% of Project Sign's investigations did not have mundane origins that they could explain. 20% of what they found were like, I don't know what this is.
Okay.
In 1948, things get even more gnarly when 2 pilots on an Eastern Airline DC-3 saw a large cigar-shaped light, basically, speeding at them at an incredible velocity and then suddenly changing direction.
So cool.
Not only did they see this, but a pilot in a second plane and eyewitnesses on the ground all corroborated the story. This is the first time it had been seen up close, basically. And Project Sign says that they officially believe that this is an extraterrestrial event, that they're finding of it. So things are heating up.
Because if they said it was Russians, then they're saying Russians are so much smarter than us.
Yeah, it's true.
In every possible way.
In 1952, in July, there was a Times headline that read, "Flying objects near Washington spotted by both pilots and radar. Air Force, I can't remember the handwriting. Something reports of something, perhaps saucers, traveling slowly but jumping up and down."
Like me.
Like you.
Always I'm traveling.
So, basically, there's a ton of UFOs above the White House in 1952. And the Air Force says...
Wait, this happened by the White House?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Air Force says, don't worry about it.
You know, just don't worry.
Just don't worry about it. And they did those scramble jets to intercept if necessary when this happened, which they didn't tell anybody about until years later.
That's
So-
the government's move.
That's right. So, at this point, the Air Force is getting concerned. For 2 reasons. One, There might be aliens. Or super Soviets. Or, if you want to get really deep into it, Nazis with UFOs.
Don't like that.
Not likely.
So if Project Sign was affecting the aircrafts from taking off, that's affecting Project Runway.
Why do we do this?
Okay, continue.
Okay. Why did I put so much work into this? So they're concerned about obviously the possibility that they are something significant, but they're all. Am I boring you?
No, it's not.
But they're also concerned because they're starting to get a lot more shitty stories than real ones, and they're like, "This isn't going to work if we're not investigating real ones." So, somewhat counterintuitively, their decision is to close down Project Sign and basically announce in the 60s, hey, actually, these aren't real. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. And their thinking there was that they would tamp down public interest in it. And then they would only get the stories that are really crazy. But also, they don't care about those really either. They start Project Blue Book at this point. This is the successor to Project Sign. Project Blue Book is headed up by a physicist named J. Allen Hynek. And they collect stories. They collect a whole compendium, but they are very meagerly funded, and they are clearly... It's clearly that at this point the Air Force doesn't care anymore. Not publicly.
More like doesn't care for us.
That's right. At least publicly they don't care anymore. So they have this...
Privately they care so much.
They really, really might do. So... Within 17 years, Blue Book receives approximately 12,000 cases. 701 of them remain unexplained. So, that's a lot.
7,001?
701? Okay. Later, in 1972, Blue Book, later after being put in charge of it, J. Allen Hynek would say that their mission was not to investigate UFOs, but explain them away. After Blue Book is shuttered, basically all UFO talk goes dark from the government. They say it's not real. It's swamp gas. It's the planet Venus. It's a goose.
Balloon, a weather balloon.
Whatever. Investigation goes dark. By which I mean it stops happening. Not that it gets creepy. But people still care about what's going on. And in 1995, a billionaire named Robert Bigelow.
A male gigolo?
Yeah, he's a billionaire male gigolo who would go on to become the owner of the mysterious Skinwalker Ranch in Utah.
Shit.
Which is a plot of land in Utah that for a very, very long time has had many, many reportings of scary events happening there, paranormal events. Bigelow is interested in this. He buys it. And then in 1995, what? Why are you going to laugh? I can see it.
No, I'm all like
I can
excited.
see it. Okay.
No, I'm like, this is so riveting.
Okay, cool. I thought you were going to do a bit. You were just
No,
waiting to
I'm
drop
like a
on
kid
me.
at Christmas.
I love it. Okay.
I'm
So-
like a kid at Christmas, mate.
There it is. So Bigelow buys Skinwalker Ranch, and in 1995, he starts an unofficial organization, a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, called the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS.
For a second, I was like, NASA.
NASA. NIDS is dedicated to two things: UFOs. And-
Fucking. No.
And uppers.
Those are nymphs.
UFOs and consciousness after death. Those are the two things that
Oh, shit.
Bigelow's interested in studying.
Cool.
And so he gets together a little team. It includes a retired U.S. Army officer who worked at Los Alamos National Laboratory named John Alexander, an engineer
Jason Alexander.
Jason Alexander, an engineer and parapsychologist who conducted top-secret remote viewing experiments for the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency in the 70s and 80s at the Stanford Research Institute named Hal Puthoff. Hal
Puthoff.
Puthoff.
It's not good either way.
Two former astronauts, one of them Ed Mitchell, and the other was Harrison Schmitt, who was also a former New Mexico senator, and a second-term senator from the great state of Nevada named Harry Reid. So, this League of Extraordinary Nerds are interested in this paranormal stuff. They're investigating it. they're putting money into it. And Reed gets a little fire on his bottom about all this. NIDS shuts down in 2004. They just drift apart. Money probably runs out. Who knows, right? But Reed is still interested. And he's been back channeling with other senators, trying to get them interested. Yes. And in 2007, he successfully recruits Alaska Senator Ted Stevens, a Republican, and Democratic Senator from Hawaii, Daniel Inouye, to set up a top-secret research project within the Defense Department, focusing on UFOs. That's set up in 2007. Yeah. So, that goes, and as far as we know, it just disappeared, who knows, into the ether. So for narrative purposes, we're going to jump ahead to 2015, when a successor group to NIDS is founded by Tom DeLonge, by former Blink-182 lead singer and guitarist and North County, San Diego icon, that's where I'm originally from, Tom DeLonge, who quit Blink-182 to focus full-time on his company To the Stars Academy.
I just really want that to be my life trajectory.
Well, keep working at it. You got time.
Thanks.
So, Tom DeLonge, who starts this company called To the Stars, which is a for-profit company, and what they sell is books and DVDs and things about UFOs, but it's also supposed to be the research wing of his new effort to lean on the government to get information from them.
Cool.
So, he meets with Bigelow, they get into contact, and he brings in Hal Puthoff from the original NIDS to become vice president of the company, and I believe he also brings in John Alexander, the Los Alamos guy. He brings them in to be part of his team. And then he also recruits a 25-year CIA veteran named Jim Sarabin, a aerospace engineer and veteran of Lockheed Martin's famous Skunk Works, which were like top secret defense projects in LA.
All these
during the
people
Cold
have
War.
seen some shit.
Yes. This guy, Steve Justice. An astronomer and computer scientist named Jacques Vallée, who's a very famous UFO person. And in fact, the scientist in Close Encounters of the Third Kind is based on Jacques Vallée. And two people, most crucially. One is former staff director of the Senate Intelligence Committee and Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Clinton and Bush, Christopher Mellon. And Luis Elizondo, a former terrorist investigator who had taken over Reed's DoD project in 2008.
Wow.
The guy who was the head of this project for Harry Reid is now a board member of To the Stars Academy.
Yes.
So Lou Elizondo gets involved in this because Reed's project technically ended in 2012. Mm-hmm. Now, Luis Elizondo is still working for the government at that point, and he's still compiling all the information. He's interested. He says, there's a lot there. He says there's a lot of unexplained events that they've witnessed, top secret laboratories with unclassifiable metals that cause disease when you're near them, all kinds of very sketchy, terrifying things. And he and Chris Mellon, who still has top secret security clearance, mm-hmm. they want another investigation. They want another program to be set up, to a successor program to Reed's. So in 2017, Elizondo goes to now Defense Secretary James Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, mm-hmm. and he says, here's what I got. Let's make this happen, baby. Mm-hmm. And although the Defense Department does agree to declassify the videos, which is why they're public now, they poo-poo the rest. Mm-hmm. They say, we're not really interested. So Elizondo resigns.
Whoa.
He resigns his post, and him and Christopher Mellon go to the New York Times.
Wow.
And that is where that first New York Times story comes from. At this point, they're both working for To the Stars Academy and coordinating the release of all this information mm-hmm. that they had seen firsthand and leaking it out. Now, there's going to be an update on this in 1 month. Because last year, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, Little Marco...
Wait, 1 month from now?
Yes.
Okay.
Last year, Marco Rubio passed legislation demanding a government-wide report on UAPs anything the government has on this needs to be compiled government-wide and released. And that report is due next month.
Wow, Marco Rubio.
Yeah. In fact, I have a quote from Marco Rubio on this. "We don't know what it is, and it isn't ours."
Wow.
He's obviously concerned. He couches it in national security concerns. Mm-hmm. But, and who knows what that report's going to be. Yeah. Obviously, they're demanding a government-wide audit, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that's classified still that they're not going to release, I'm sure. Yeah. But it's a huge step, because for the first time ever, this is the first time in 50 years that the executive branch will have to formally recognize their investigations into UFOs. We're all used to it now, because they're releasing these videos. Mm-hmm. But that 2017 New York Times article with Luis Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, huge bombshell.
Yeah.
I mean, they had been saying since the 70s that they were not interested in UFOs. So the government was not interested, the Air Force was not interested.
Yeah.
Turns out they were.
Yeah.
They've been studying this, they care about it, and they do not know what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there are people who think that this whole thing is a plot. That this whole releasing of the videos, this whole drum up, that it's a plot of its own, for one reason or another.
To distract from the coronavirus, or to distract from Trump, or to raise money for the Space Force, or to blah, 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 or to be a, or like, why would they allow this information to be released?
And the answer for why they would allow it is because Luis Elizondo leaked it. They didn't allow it. They didn't want to, but they are now, because it's out there. That's it. They have fought tooth and nail against this entire process. They didn't want to do Harry Reid's project. Mattis didn't want to release this information with Elizondo. They just went to the media. The NSA admitted what they were doing after Snowden came forward. Once things come to light, you can't pretend anymore. You have to get in ahead of it and control it, but you can't pretend it's not there anymore. So do I think that they're presenting it in a way that they can gain control of the narrative? Sure. That's what they do. Do I think they're trying to raise money? I mean, when has the Defense Department ever needed an excuse to get money? Mm-hmm. They have a bottomless hole of a budget. They can get whatever they want. Are they trying to distract from Trump, coronavirus? If they are, it's not working. Nobody seems to care about this because of Trump and the coronavirus. If anything, Trump and the coronavirus were great cover to quietly release all this stuff.
I agree about that.
Are they setting up some kind of Dr. Manhattan style fake invasion to institute the New World Order? Maybe. But I don't see any evidence of that.
So, a lot of people have been asking, and so it's been in the news a lot about these disclosures. And recently they asked Joe Biden about it because Obama on his podcast was talking about it, right?
Somebody asked Obama about it. And he basically said, yeah, there's something, we don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And somebody asked Joe Biden about this statement, and Joe Biden said, you have to ask him again.
That's pretty exciting.
Heavily implying that they know more. Yeah.
Still would have been cool if Joe had anything more to say about it, but still.
So that's where things stand now. I think we should do a follow-up when the report comes out. Mm-hmm. And just talk about whatever they reveal, if it's significant, if it's not, whatever. But it's interesting times, to be certain. I did not have the government conclude, or, the government openly acknowledges that UFOs are real on my early 21st century bingo board. So, interesting times to be alive. And what a fun topic to bring our show back with, huh? Is there anything else you want to add? Because that's my story for this one.
No, just I'm excited to record a follow-up where we talk about some
of the wackier stuff, or
just
more speculative?
Sort of the history of different statements from the government and presidents and stuff, all their different views about UFOs, like Jimmy Carter. And,
famously saw one.
Yeah, so.
Gerald Ford definitely had some things to say about it.
So we'll talk about it in the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess we'll just have to watch the skies. If you have seen a UFO, then please report it to the National UFO Reporting Center. That's newfork.org.
Do that.
And they, if you look, you can see clusters of, areas where a lot of people saw similar things on the same night. So.
That's nuforc.com.
Yeah, because the government they feel like UFOs are only valid if, a naval pilot saw it. There's countless reports from from regular old people every day. So support your local sky watcher.
That's right. Good night. Until we meet again.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
The end, question mark?